Now, as I was saying, drugs are bad. You shouldn't do drugs. If you do them, you're bad. Because drugs are bad, okay? It's a bad thing to do drugs, so don't be bad by doing drugs, okay? That'd be bad. Drugs are bad.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Talk movies with us here. Back again with a Patreon requested movie review of Fear of Loathing in Las Vegas, starring Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro.
Correct. Based on the book by Hunter S. Thompson, which I do have a copy of.
Yes, and we do have the Criterion edition of the Blu-ray. Now, right off the bat, we would give you a quick plot synopsis of the movie, so I'll give you my version of the movie. Two junkies driving around a car in Las Vegas that are on every drug in the book that you could imagine. And they're bopping around from casino to casino in Las Vegas. Some random cameos along the way, like Tobey Maguire and Cameron Diaz. And yeah, that's it. Junkies driving around a car, and they're really, really messed up on drugs.
I mean, listen, you're really not that far off. Johnny Depp plays Raoul Duke, and Benicio del Toro plays Dr. Gonzo, and he is Johnny Depp's lawyer, or attorney as he calls it. And Johnny Depp is playing this character who is, in theory, Hunter S. Thompson. So he gets an assignment to go to Las Vegas to do a story on this motorcycle race. And instead of going to the race, really, and covering that and making a story, they just get really fucked up.
Yeah.
They start the drugs on their drive to Las Vegas. I mean, the whole opening scene is them basically like, the drugs are about to kick in, and
the acid trips. The whole movie is an acid trip. And watching it, I felt like I was on an acid trip. I mean, this is the closest I've ever been to being high on acid in my entire life without actually doing it.
But that's, you know what? That's, I think, part of the whole, like, mood of the movie. Like, that's the whole thing, you know? Like,
I guess. I mean, if I wanted to see a bunch of junkies driving around a car, I'll just go to the bad part of town. You know what I mean? Hang out there for a little bit and you see that. But, I mean, my biggest flaw with this movie, the reason why it didn't click with me, is one simple reason is it didn't have a coherent storyline. It wasn't coherent whatsoever. I guess that's the point, because they're screwed up on drugs. I guess you're supposed to feel like you're kind of tripping out on drugs. And that doesn't really flow with me. That's the biggest issue. I mean, right off the bat, I could appreciate the performances. Johnny Depp is great. Benicio del Toro is great. You know, they play good junkies. I'll give them that. It's just, there wasn't more to it for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That was it. And one thing this movie really does well, and I will say to contribute to you feeling like you're tripping out on all kinds of drugs, is it has really, you know, vibrant colors in every scene. You have your purples, your pinks, every color, every room is lit in this really strange way. Mm-hmm. Crazy camera angles. I mean, in that aspect, I could appreciate it, you know. But it's just halfway through this movie, I'm saying, what is going on here?
Not really supposed to know what's going on. I mean, Terry Gilliam, he was the director of this movie, and he's worked on the Monty Python movies, and he did like 12 Monkeys. He's done a bunch of stuff, but he has this style of directing. But in this movie, he really captures the drug addiction that is going on. I mean, you said the camera angles and everything, the colors. I think technically speaking, this movie is almost perfect. It's a very good first-person narrative. I think that Johnny Depp does a really good job.
Good narration, for sure.
Yeah, like, I think any other actor that would have done it, like, you just would never have been able to get into it. But Johnny Depp is such a out there person.
Yeah, I almost feel like this is Johnny Depp on a day-to-day basis. Like, I don't, like, I want to call the guy a great actor, but I really do have a feeling this is probably more of the real Johnny Depp than you know, so great performance or just great job of being yourself, guy. But,
well, it was a great performance. I mean, who knows if, I'm sure he's been on drugs before, but I don't think that he
Safe
was
to
on
say.
it
I think that's pretty much confirmed.
during this movie, and I actually heard that with Benicio del Toro. By the way, that was not a fat suit. He gained 40 pounds for the movie.
Oh, okay. I was questioning. Is that a fat suit? But okay.
Oh no, he actually gained the weight. But
Good for him.
The scene in the bathtub where he's like violently tripping out and like wanting to like die and everything. Apparently, like after that scene, it was hard for him to get work because people actually like thought that he might have been on drugs, but he wasn't.
Well, that's good to know. I mean,
He is fantastic.
Glad to know. I mean, they could have fooled me.
The performances in this movie really make it. I mean, if we were to have Adam Sandler and David Spade tripping balls, I mean,
I would have loved it. I mean,
but it just wouldn't
Grandma's
have been
Boy.
the same.
Hello, come on.
All right, but that's a completely different movie.
You want to watch a movie about drugs? Grandma's Boy, baby.
I mean, that movie is hilarious.
And it has a more coherent storyline than this film, to be honest with you. And I mean, if you ever want to, tell your kids not to do drugs, stay off crack, do all whatever, show them this movie. I mean,
it definitely does
put
a
this
good job
movie
deterring
in
you
and
from
say
wanting
if
to do it.
you want to do the junk and you'll look like these guys. I think that's a good lesson to teach your kids the hard way. It'd be good.
Yeah. So.
So yeah, I mean, but like you said, performances were they were fun. If anything, that's the one thing I could take away was, all right, but we know Johnny Depp can act. We know Benicio del Toro can act. So
Right, but
that's a given.
But yeah, that's what makes the story though. Like their acting is pretty much the entire movie.
Yeah, what about Tobey Maguire's acting? He was great in this too.
Yeah, just very strange. Very strange.
Just strange
It's like
movie.
Strange.
Strange.
So listen, at the end of the day, I know that this movie, for you, it has no storyline, whatever. But for me, there's something about it that I absolutely love. And I haven't seen this movie in a really long time. So this was the first time I was kind of visiting it to review. And I know that you could get into there being some like metaphors for the American culture back then, and it takes place in the early 70s. But I mean, you could just have a great time with it. I mean, it's a wild movie. It's an adventure. It really is.
It just was the same thing for 2 hours. It was the same stuff. I felt like I was watching the same scene over and over again.
I mean, you're not the only person that has said that. I've heard that before, and I don't think that this movie is for everybody.
I wouldn't say it's for everybody. No way.
I love it. I think that it's so unique, and it's Hunter S. Thompson. I mean, he really had this style of writing back in the day that they were able to capture his writing like almost perfectly on screen. Like the book to film adaptation was flawless.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because as much as I'm talking about this movie, I'm not bashing it, but kind of. I do realize it is an adaptation of a book. So, take what I'm saying, obviously. I mean, I never read the book.
Yeah.
I'm never going to read the book. But
The book
from what I hear, it is a very excellent adaptation.
But to be able to capture what Hunter S. Thompson wrote in this book, like all of these scenes, these wild, like tripping scenes and everything, like to be able to capture that flawlessly on screen, I think that alone is...
Oh, yeah. I mean, in that aspect, I could give it a ton of credit. If it is a very good adaptation, like everyone says it is, then it's a great movie, because at the end of the day, fans of the book want an exact adaptation on screen.
Right.
So
I mean...
if it delivers that, then hey, what am I... I'm wrong. But
You're not wrong. This is just your opinion.
Yes. All right. So what are we grading Fear of Loathing in Las Vegas?
I'm giving it an A. I'm sorry that
You're so artsy-fartsy.
I don't know if that's what it is, but I just thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I think that every time you watch it, you're going to see something different. There's so many details, so many colors, so many, not emotions, because it's really just tripping balls.
I guess if you want to try drugs without actually doing drugs, you could watch this movie.
Yes.
Or you could do both at the same time and really be in for a treat. And
I'm not sure that's such a great idea.
No, I wouldn't condone that either.
Yeah, so
stay off drugs.
Performances were perfect for me. Cinematography was perfect for me. I know that it doesn't really have much of a storyline, but that's the point. But I love this movie. Love it. A.
I'll give... this is tough. All right, I'm really going to give this... I'll give it, for the acting alone, C-. And that's only because of the acting. If it was based on the whole movie, I'd probably give it an F. But just because of the performances and they play good junkies. I got to give them credit. I'll give it a C-, and that's being nice. But what are you gonna do, guys? It's just opinions. It's just how we feel.
I know,
and,
it just
that's all
hurts.
it is.
You know, it always hurts when we don't agree. I mean, I sat through Deuce Bigalow, European Gigolo the other night. I can't stand that movie.
That movie's hilarious, and it has more of a plot than this one. And all right, enough of the plot. We're not talking about plot. But first and foremost, this review was brought to you by Justin Alvarez. Justin, thank you so much for your support on Patreon and just your overall supporting the channel and the Facebook group and all that stuff.
And thank you for requesting this movie because honestly, he probably never would have watched it otherwise.
No, so I mean, listen, even though I didn't love it, you know, I'm
did
glad
see it.
I got the chance to see it.
Maybe
you know?
one day we'll give it another shot.
It's kind of like a can no. But anywho, regardless of that, regardless of how I felt of it, we are still thankful. Thank you so much for your request. And if any of our Patreon members in that tier have a movie to request us to review,
do it, because this
please
is only
do so.
This is only the third Patreon requested review, but we have a lot of fun doing this. It really does expose us to movies that
we normally wouldn't watch.
Probably wouldn't watch, or like or we've seen a long time ago, and when you sit down and watch something to review it, it's different than if you're
just
when
casually
you're growing up
watching
and
it.
you're just casually watching it.
Yeah, you watch it with a different eye to it. You know.
So. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching our review. As always, let us know in the comments below how you felt about Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Guys, be nice. Be nice to me.
Give this video a big thumbs up, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
See you later.